Even though we talk about you can sneak and you can talk your way through, everybody does combat. So I don't want anyone to either think our combat's boring, but I also don't want to think there was too much just rote combat in the game. I want them to come away thinking that combat was exciting, it was fun when it happened, it was a little scary, you could always die, there was always a chance you could die, but that if you basically thought about it and were tactical, you could get through pretty much any encounter.
We are an RPG first, but it still looks like a shooter, so it needs to play like a shooter. We're trying to walk a little bit of a tightrope line between the two to make sure that when you see an encounter, an easy encounter, you might just be able to just shoot everything and not worry too much about taking cover, using your health kits, and just sort of brute force it. But as you start to encounter larger encounters or enemies with special abilities or tactics, that's when we have some of the things in there that we want players thinking through. Like, I'll take a moment, I know what this guy can do, what are the ways that I can deal with that? What are the tools in my toolbox? You know, should I be using my companions?
We definitely wanted to make sure this game supported companion combat because we have a new role in addition to combat and stealth and dialogue called the leadership role. The leader character will swap in and out companions to gain access to their skills, and the leader, because he spent points in that, isn't as proficient in combat as a pure combat character. So he gains the combat skills of his companions, and they're really important for him to have.
So companions, just by being there, will help out with dealing damage. They'll also grab aggro from enemies. Players can also direct them to attack specific targets. And then they also have special companion abilities, which is a special move that can be used in certain scenarios to inflict certain status effects on enemies. They're sort of like our specials that gives companions a little bit more flavor, and each of them has a unique thing that they can do that has its advantages and disadvantages against different types of enemies. There's some perks that can change how those work, or reduce the cooldowns, or change the cooldown based off of other things.
That's true for almost everything. If you like ranged combat, you can perk it. If you like TTD, you can perk it. TTD is our tactical time dilation. You can slow down time and move and shoot and aim. It's a way for you to behave tactically in combat if you're not the best FPS player. But FPS players will still want to use it because it gives you bonus status effects depending on what part of the target's body you hit. We have an awful lot of choices you can make in our combat. We just want to make sure that people don't feel overwhelmed.
At first we just had TTD slow down everything all the time, and it just drained at a constant rate. And it drained really fast, but then we were just trying to balance out, well, it becomes super powerful if I can just do everything all the time without it draining. So this was a way for us to if you don't do anything and just look around, you have plenty of time in there. Once you start moving, it drains a little bit faster. Then once you decide to take a specific action, that's when you start to lose a big chunk of it.
Yeah, when you get overwhelmed, it's great to take a breather. You just turn around and go, whew, and then you kind of look around and go, my companions are really low on health. Oh wait, there's 2 more marauders coming. Okay, what should I do? And you can even switch weapons and reload and do things like that and then start fighting. We have a bunch of different types of weapons, energy weapons and bullets and melee weapons, but we also have a lot of brands. And so we're hoping that gives us enough of a matrix of different kinds of weapons that you can give them to the player a whole bunch of variety early on and then give more powerful versions of the same weapons later. Our brands are significantly different from each other. Spacer's Choice doesn't have a high health, so the weapon condition on that breaks down a lot, but they're so cheap they're easy to fix. We have some other brands that have a lot of mod slots. The weapon is the kind of weapon you can put a silencer on and a scope on and a bigger magazine, so you can actually remake the weapon for your style of play. So there's a lot of choices for players to have even early in the game of how they want to make weapons more unique to their playstyle.
And we do have a lot of different weapons early on. The 2 different melee types, handguns, long guns, heavy weapons. There's a little bit of each early on, but yeah, we do scale it up so that once you get to the higher levels, you start to see some a little bit fancier things, better at dealing mass death to things. Yeah, overall, I think we've come a long way from where we started, and it's feeling pretty good right now. I'm really excited to see how we finish.
Me too.